We
So
actually dispersed March, the amount in March, only in the
package,
beginning of April.
package. I'm going to create a file inside the structure called ambee.go. Okay, so this is going to be package ambee. Okay, now I'm going to create a structure called ambee.
March.
I'm going to put like
That is March.
API key, which can, this is nothing but a string. Currently it is not that, but we will be passing it, and the base URL. Okay, that's also I'm going to put it.
Sir, that is actually not a problem. Don't worry about it. No.
Now I created the structure. Now I'm going to build it like how we created the calculator, right? We created a calculator, in that function was attached to a structure. Here yesterday and all we were doing, function was independent. Today we are going to do that. So for example, first thing, what we need request, right? So func, I'm going to put a ambee, then this is a request object, and this request object takes a URL and a method. URL is basically a string, method is basically a string, and even I can even do one thing like I can the headers I can create in this itself.
Okay.
Headers. Header. So that means HTTP or it's HTTP header where I have to put X API key is nothing but we have to put a string. Then basically this is actually okay. Then we need one more thing in this. It's called content type, which is nothing but it is also a string. So I don't want this like this. I'm saving it. It's telling expected. Okay.
That's right.
What we can do is, okay, we can keep it just HTTP headers. Not really. Okay, this can be map of strings of strings.
I'll talk, sir.
This is fine. Header. Okay, basically it's you have understood maps, right? When you learn Go, it's like dictionary. So that is needed. Method is needed. We don't need every time. API key is really not an issue. We don't want it because it's going to be inside header. Okay. Now, okay. The first thing we need a URL. Okay. This URL we need to create it. So how to create a URL? URL is nothing but fmt println printf. Basically what will happen is the first part of URL will come from the base URL. Okay. Then that's it. Slash percentage v. That is two things. One is UA dot base URL. I'm getting that base URL. Base URL means it will be like http api.ambee.com like this. Okay, that is base URL. So we will not because for everything URL is same only that last piece is changing after the custom domain. That I'm taking. Next one is whatever URL I'm getting it here. Am I right? So fine. Now create the full length URL. We have created it. Now what we need to do is we need to create a new request object, right? So request http dot new request, which will first take for what is the thing. First it takes the method, that is method, next the URL, and next is the null. Check for the error.
That's right.
If it's there, just log and println that error, else return at this moment nil error.
Sounds good.
Now in this request
Okay, sir.
dot header, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the header from the struct, reassign headers from the
I will
struct.
do that. That's not a problem.
You got my point? So what happened is
Yeah.
it's getting assigned here. Now I want to create a
Where is it? Done.
client to perform
That.
HTTP. That is a client which can be created using HTTP client.
Hold on.
What's it telling? Declare but not used. Now let's do this
How?
response error. That is nothing but this client will do the request.
See that.
If there is an error, then log that error, else return a null with the error. At this moment nil, because we don't know what will take it though. So we can see that request is doing all these things. Now I want to keep this response, so I'm going to take a data error. I'm going to use JSON unmarshal. No, not needed, because JSON unmarshalling is going to because it's we don't know what to unmarshal. So request, let it only do one thing. Let it return the bytes.
Same. 505.
Data error. It's nothing but IOUtil. That read by the way response by body. And if there is an error, that will log and print that error. And if it is not error, it's going to return that with a null and error. And this data we are going to return as data, comma, nil. Now the return type I can get here is it's basically bytes.
Sure, but
Byte, and next one is an error.
Rama,
Right?
Rama and
Now I will
Needs
create a
the
request
approval.
body and attach to it. Now the data it is showing what?
Yeah.
Undeclared. So that means now it's fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary.
Now basically every time I get it, it is going to return a JSON type,
Okay, sir.
but I want to convert it into a structure. So normally what we generally marshalling we do. Okay, we do unmarshalling inside. So this request will only do whether it, irrespective of whether you are checking weather, soil or anything, it will give you the data back. But now we need to build something interesting here. So this much we will keep it here. Now I'm going to the same directory. I'm going to create air quality. Okay. .go. So I can go. Package name is Ambee. As I have defined a structure here, I can directly start writing. I can start writing all the functions here itself. Func, like that for air quality, everything. But that's not a good idea. We want to put it into a air quality. So here I'm going to put func a Ambee. Can you see this? Now get air quality of country, which is a string. Okay. Now anything which is related to this air, this one, I can put it here. So air quality basically will give me few things. One is a type station struct. What are the things we get it? We get an ID, which is nothing but it's a string. It comes from a JSON called ID. Next a place ID, which is directly a string. Place ID, which is basically exactly a string. Next is CO, which is also a float 64. NO2. This NO2 is also float 64. Keep it like this. Now this returns a type of stations, which is nothing but a list of station. This altogether will be written as a response struct with a message as a string and a stations as a stations. Now I return air qualities things. Now if I'm coming here down, what I just need to get the URL. So what is the URL for that? Let's go to air quality and go to documentation, and I'm going to air quality. I'm going to it as a country by search. I copy this URL, and I'm not going to give the full URL here. I'm going to remove this thing after this base, and this one also. So I'm going to do is fmt printf. What I'm going to do is this is the URL, and I'm going to change this one also using the country. Now what happened is a URL is formed. This is a base URL. When I'm sending it into that as Ambee, I'm just calling it anyway. I'm going to get the full request. So now I'm going to request. So response error, which is nothing but a dot request. It's looking for first one is a what? It's looking for a URL. So I'm passing this URL. Second one is a this. Then third one is what request is looking for. That's it. Two things. Headers and no. Now I can check the errors here itself and return log that errors, and I can return basically nil at this moment and then error. Okay, if everything goes fine, now I need to have a marshalling methodology. Basically we are getting IOUtil converter, right? So we are having data. We can put it like where response or where stations is nothing but response. Okay, now I'm putting an error which is JSON dot unmarshal, where I need to take the station. No, I need to get the response and the station. And the stations. If there is an error, then log that error. Log the error. Let's return that nil with the error. Okay. Now stations, we got it. Now return the stations. Next error. Now we know what type of data type need to be returned. So I'm going to put stations empty, because that is what is. Now I am going to return the response, right? Because it's not only sending the stations. Now I need to, because this is basically response only, no? Type is. I save it. Now we get some errors. What it's telling is response string. Okay, now we need to get the return type here. That is nothing but response error. Now it's done, right? Fair enough. Good. Did anyone created an account? No. Okay, no problem. Now the same way I can directly go to weather. I'll go and create a weather. Okay. Now package Ambee. Now our structure should be what? I don't want structure, basically func a star Ambee. Next get weather, and we need two things, right? We need a lat, which is nothing but a float 64, and a long, which is also float 64. And okay, now URL we need to form. URL can be like, what is that? Latest. Wait, we'll take it from here. The latest geospatial. Yeah, this is the one. Write this, copy this. Okay. So fmt is printf, then wherever we are having this lat 12, put v %v comma lat comma lng. Good. Now we got the URL. Now what is the way? We already have created a thing that's what to say, a dot request where I need to pass the URL. It's a get method. That's it. It's going to get return a response and an error. So if there is an error, log that particular error. With error, return that nil. At this moment, nil. If there is a response, now I need a marshalling methodology. So I need a structure, right? So I'm putting what will be the answer of that? Like, yeah, here is like directly I can put a response. Type as a response, which is nothing but a struct, which has first one a message, which can be a string. Then next thing will be a data, which is a struct. Inside that you can have a temperature, which is nothing but a float, 32 or 64. Then we have dew point, which is also a float, 64, and I can even give more suggestion that it's a JSON which is called as dew point and humidity. Let's keep it at this moment. Humidity, this is a float 64. Even I'm going to give it a tell that in JSON it will be looking like this. That is like humidity. I hope all are fine. So what it's telling, like, oh, it's already declared. So we can already declare, because in the package you should not use the same type struct. It can be referred early another place. So this can be put like weather. Okay. So now I need a error json.unmarshal, and the data will be response, and I need to create an instance where weather can be weather, and I'm putting an ampersand weather. Now if there's an error, okay, log.println that error, return nil and error. If it is not there, the response is successfully get. Now return that response. No, return the weather and nil. Now we know what is the return type here. It's basically weather, and next one is error. Okay, then I can come to all this nil, convert it to weather, empty weather, nothing. Save it. Now the interesting thing comes here. Package main func main, right? Now Ambee, I'm creating a client, or like Ambee itself I'm going to create, which is nothing but Ambee dot Ambee. I'm going to create the Ambee with the two things. What are the things? I have to pass in headers, right? So I'm going to the Ambee. You know, when I'm creating an Ambee, this is the base structure. Inside Ambee, I'm going to take inside this Ambee, there is an Ambee. This is where I'm going to put a couple of things. What are the things? A base URL. Okay. A base URL can be what? Well, copy this. This is a base URL. Okay, ap.ambee.com. One is this. Next thing is it is looking for a header, which can be like http dot header. Same, only it's why it's telling missing. Basically, okay. Now I need to put X API key from. I'll create another account. Log out of this. Go and put sign up for an account. Robin. Get that. And here it is. Going into it. Now I'm going to this marathonrobins@gmail.com. Skip this, copy this. Now I see total monthly count, nothing. So I'm going to put that here. Okay. Then I have to put content type, which is nothing but application/JSON. Go to command. Now save it. Now what happened is, can't use. Okay, it's looking okay. I need to put it like map of strings, right? Same way I have to use this strings, which is nothing but a map of strings. Now errors are gone. Now Ambee. Now in this point, we have created a reusable Ambee client. Okay. Now what is the easiest way? I want to get the air quality. Air with an error. That's nothing but Ambee dot get air quality of India. If there is an error, log dot print then that error, else fmt dot println air. You get my point? I'm reused. Now I want a other thing. Ambee dot get weather. I don't need to every time go and pass. If in my code I just need to come to a main.go and only replace here. Now let's run this code and see. See, go mod tidy and run once tidy. Go mod run main.go. SMUs. Okay. I need to. I need a subscription. Yeah, I need to subscribe to this. India. Okay. I need to add. Next I need this weather. Next I need water vapor, soil, fire, colon. I will put all APIs. Okay. Activator. Same as selection. Now if I go and run the code. Got my point? Subscribe to any plan or you're not allowed to access this endpoint. Which endpoint? Okay. Need to copy this. Can you give me your code? Can you mail me? That API. Adala, I want this API key. Copy this. Then wait a minute. Etherpad. Just visit this site. Anywhere, this one, right? Ether dot MIT video. Yeah, you can paste it here. Copying it from here. Let me replace my. Okay. I have to go to Ambee. Only once I need to change this. Ambee and going. Not Ambee. Main.go. This I'm going to replace it. Save it. Now let's run this. Save. Says you're not subscribed to any plan or not allowed to access the XAPI content is there, HTTP header is there. Now let me go to this one and see if I'm able to get any response printed. T.println response. It's bringing the detail, but I want to see what is the URL. No. Are we misleading? Okay, let me see in the Ambee client itself. Ambee client. This URL is formatted, base URL is there. Let me print that URL here and see are we correctly sending a request to the URL. Oh, it's coming double dash. So I will remove this. You see this? URL is mistake. Now if I go and run, here go. Do you understood? So we can keep on attaching to Ambee, and one time in main I'm creating one client, Ambee client, then I'm calling that methods from that. Now if I want other stuff, weather, which will also have an error, which is not Ambee dot get weather, and latitude is some 11.10, and next, what is that next one? Can you give me any number?
75.
Just go to the code. We'll be having a lot long. Yeah, 11.7200 and it is 75.699. Now we also have an error here. Error If it is there, log.println that error. Then if it is not an error, then fmt .println the weather. Save it. Now I'm coming and run the code. Good. I'm getting first one I got it, second one I also got it. Right? Now I can easily go to github.com/masterrobbins and I will create a repository. Here called new repository. Let me call this Ambee API, right? And Ambee client. And I'm going to create a repository. Now I got URL of this repository. You can see I want to push the existing repository. So I'm just copying this link. Go to the code, git init. Then I'm putting git, what is it? Git remote add origin. This is nothing but once if you already download it, you don't need to do it. I'm creating a repository and I'm uploading already created something locally. Git status, you can see git add, its status, it's changing green. Initial commit, git status, git push origin name, git push stuff. Now if I go to this code, run it, see here, the code is there, Ambee client is there. If I'm going to Ambee client, so you can see Ambee is there, which is basically the client. Ultimately, so do you get my point?
Yes.